I'm going to show you now how to stitch your book. So we have all of your pages stacked. You have your holes poked in all of the sides, and now we need to get them to be stuck together. So I'm going to take the first page, and the rest of them I'm going to flip over like this. So I have my needle threaded, and it is double threaded, so that means that I thread it through, and then I pulled the needle until it was in the center, and then I tied the knot at the end. If you tie the knot at the head of the needle, you're not doing it right. Your string won't be strong enough, and that knot there will make it harder to get through. You also want to make sure that you wax. So I have these blocks of wax. The way you're going to do it is you're going to hold the string over the top, pressing your thumb in, and just pull from the needle, and it kind of cuts into the wax, and that is perfectly okay. If you tear this up into 100 pieces, I don't care. Okay, so I've waxed the string, and you'll see little white flecks on it, and I have it tied in a knot, and I'm ready to go. So I'm going to start on the top and go through the top hole from the outside. So in the end, my knot is going to be on the outside. I'm going to pull this through. I'm going to pull it snug, but not so snug that it pulls all the way through. And then I'm going to come back in here into the next hole and thread it through. Now something you want to watch for is you want to make sure that you get it pulled all the way through. You want to make sure that there's no knots happening right here. Here's where the knots will happen if they do. And then you're going to just repeat all the way around. Okay, so I'm going through the last hole, and make sure I pull it tight. So right now on the inside and the outside, you both have these kind of dotted lines, but we don't want to see these little white gaps here. So we're going to come back and go through again, going through the holes a second time. So this is a classic back stitch. Again, you don't want to pull it so tight that you're breaking your paper, but you don't want it to be loose at all. It's a little bit of a balance, and you'll get the hang of it. Okay, so I'm back at the beginning. I'm going to go through here. I'm not going to go through my previous knot, so I kind of pulled my knot up a little bit. Come through. So to make sure that my string stays where I want it, and to get my needle back on the other side, I'm going to tie a knot. So I'm not going to tie it up here or even here. I'm going to push it underneath of the string, and that creates a loop. Then I'm going to bring this back through and through the loop, and then just pull it up, and that will tie a nice knot. And then you go back through the hole, and when you go back through the hole, you want to give it a little bit of a tug so that that knot comes back through. Not all the way like I did. So if that happens where your top knot comes untied, do it again. And then you can go through the top just a little bit above the original hole. Okay, so now I have this done. I have a complete solid unbroken line here and an unbroken line here. So now I'm going to start adding the next one. So I'm going to take my sheet. I'm going to make sure that my holes line up. So I'm going to look at it and I see, yep, they line up. So now my needle is on the outside. I'm going to go through the top hole again. Pull it tight. And then through the next hole again, just like before. Oh, I had a little knot up here, so I'm going to fix that. Okay, so now if I kept going down and back up just like I did before, it's not going to be connected in the middle. It'll only be connected on the ends, and then I'll have a loose book. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my needle and go underneath of the string. So my hole is right here. I'm going to the right of my hole, pull it through, and then I'm going to come back up to the left of the hole. So I'm essentially just tying a little knot. Oh, that's weird. There we go. So now I have that anchoring it there, and then I'm going to go back through the hole on the second page. So if I open the second page up, you can see the needle coming through. So keep doing that all the way down. So through, underneath, back around, and then back through. That is just for the second page. So I'm going to pause the video and I'm going to continue this, and I will get back on here when I'm ready to do the third page. Alright, I got the second signature on, and now I'm at the end, so I need to tell you what to do. So I'm going to, just like before, I'm going to go underneath of the string, but there isn't a string on this side to go through. So I'm going to go through. I'm going to leave a little bit of a loop here, and just like on the inside, I'm going to go through it, and I'm going to tie that knot. So now I have a second knot, and that signature is done. So now I have two signatures put together. I'm going to get the next one, line up the dots, and start again. However, there's going to be a little bit of different from here until you get to the end. So I'm going to go through the top hole from the outside to the inside, just like before. Go through again, just like before. So the first two steps are always going to be pretty similar. I pulled it all the way through. But now, instead of going through that string at the bottom, we're not going to do that. Instead, we're going to take our needle and go in between the two first pages, so in between first page and second page. There's a knot there. I'm just going to stick my needle underneath of that knot and come through like that. And then pull it all the way through.
Mommy.
We got a little bit of a knot. Let me see if I can get it untangled here. There we go. And now I'm all the way through. I didn't have to go through one string and out the other. So I can go ahead and go back through that top hole. And then just repeat all the way around. And you're going to repeat that until you finish your book. So I'm going to show you that again on the next hole. So through. I'm going to go through the hole. Pull it all the way tight. Then I'm going to go between the first and second page and go underneath of that knot that I made. I went all the way through. And now I'm going to, if you find your thread is getting knots in it, you can do like this and hold it, because like I said, when you pull it tight, that's when the knots come. Well, most of them. Pull it tight and then just go right back through that hole. I'm going to show you again. Go through. Go underneath of the knot between the first and second page. Pull that through. And then back through that hole. And you'll just keep doing that all the way up. I'm going to keep going until I get to the top so I can show you what to do again when you get to the top. Here I ran out of thread, and I will show you a little way later how to get new thread on. But I can just ignore that for now. And go back through the knot, back through the hole I mean. Notice that the inside of my signature has a straight line. There's no gaps in it at all. So this is the kind of thing it takes a minute to get used to, but once you get it, it becomes kind of second nature to just keep doing it. And you won't have to keep reminding yourself after the first couple of pages. Almost to the top. Last hole. Again, I'm going to pull it all the way through. And just like before, there's no other string over here to do. So I'm going to go under the knot again, pull it through. And then I'm going to put my needle through that little loop. Pull it tight, and start with the next one. So I have 9 pages I'm going to do, so I'm going to pause you and then I will come back when I am at the end and show you how to finish it off. Alright, so as you build up your layers and you keep going up and up and up, you're going to get a kind of a V stitch, similar to like if you were wearing a cable sweater. Let me see if I can focus that a little bit more. There you go. So you can see the nice stitching going all the way up. It won't look nice until you add like the 3rd or 4th one on there though. So that's why we're stacking each one individually and sewing it on, and it'll look nice. You will have the little knots from where your string has to be redone. That's okay. It's no big deal. And then when you get to the end, you're going to go through just like normal, and then you will go back through the final hole. Go back through, tie a knot just like we did on the very first signature. tie the knot, and then go back through, same hole, and we want to try to get that knot on the outside, so we're going to give it just a little tug just until you feel that knot pull through, and then you can trim your strings and you'll be good to go. So I hope that helps with you guys figuring out how to make your stitches. I want you to watch this video and do it along with the video so that you can kind of get help as you need, and then I'll be here walking around when you need help. Alright, so I am about out of thread, so I have quite a bit left over, but it really doesn't go very far when you think about how far it has to stretch and how much we have to have to run the line. So I went ahead and I went underneath of the knot, and now I'm ready to go back through, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And now I'm going to, instead of continuing on to the next hole, I'm going to tie a knot here on the inside, just like we've done in the past. Pull it nice and tight, and then I'm going to pull it back through and I'm going to pull it a little bit so that I get that knot on the outside. So it just happened that I lined up all of my knots on the same thread. You don't have to do that, but if you are worried about all of them having little knots on them, you can, make it happen where you make sure that it lines up on the same thread. Alright guys, get to it.